Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? How's it going? Angels. If you don't listen to Black Angels, you're an asshole. Not a lot of good music these days, but that band is the shit. They're pretty dope. They're from Austin. I know Austin's a shithole. Not a lot of good music comes out of there. At least that's the rumor nowadays, but they are a fucking good band. You should listen to them. I went to go see them in Denver, actually. They came to my area here in beautiful northern Colorado live. That's where we're broadcasting from. They came out here a couple months ago, but it was a fucking fully vaccinated show. And I am not, so I couldn't go. And that was kind of a bummer. I'm not going to lie to you. I was just like, dude, I went and saw Krungbin at Red Rocks, and I had to show a test. But yeah, they required me to be vaxxed, so I didn't go to the show, which is a bummer. It is what it is, I guess. It's not like I didn't take it personal, but not like Rage Against the Machine. Like, for everything that band stood for, to now be taking residency at like the Capital One Arena or something like that, and to be requiring vaccination, and then it seems a little ironic. I saw on Twitter someone said shilling in the name of, they were getting lit up. I just saw that the other day, which is a bummer because I really liked Rage Against the Machine as a kid. They're my favorite band all through high school and my early adulthood. Year, with all the protests and shit going on, I felt like it was apropos to be listening to them a little bit. I was bumping them a little bit last year, and then I knew they were coming to Texas this year. I saw that they announced a show in Texas, and I was going to go see that. But yeah, I just kind of forgot about that they were back together with Zach De La Rocha. And then I saw on Twitter, that I think they have residency. I should look this up. I'm just over here running my fucking mouth about things I don't quite know about, as usual. That's the theme of this podcast, in case you haven't. It's kind of the theme of my life. I just kind of run my mouth about things I don't really know about, and I don't really care. That's the American way. That's what America does, baby. That's what Americans do. It's what Empire babies do. Shout out to Abby Martin. I really we are. Let me see. Rage Against the Machine. Jesus Christ. Google is just awful. Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Government. Blah, 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 blah. I heard they had a residency. What kind of shit is this? Residency. Let me see. Could have swore I saw they had a residency. I guess they don't. I don't know. Maybe they do. Rage Against the Machine has a residency at the Capital One Bank Arena. What? That's somebody's tweet. Exactly. I'm not going to sit here and go through this shit. Either way, it kind of sounds like they're shilling out. Who knows? I just saw a tweet that has brought up the tabs, 2 YouTube videos of just songs. This is fucking insane. And then someone covered it. And then a Rolling Stone article. Rage Against the Machine reschedules tour for 2021. See, whatever. Who cares? Whack De La Rocha. You live long enough to see your artists become either, crybaby bitches, pedophiles, or I was thinking, I immediately went to the drummer of Metallica. It's just crybaby bitch. God, that fucking guy. And then Michael Jackson, girl I grew up with, named her kid after him, still defends him to this day. Fucking insane. Oh my god, her little boy is named after a fucking pedophile. Fucking crazy. Let me see. What was I saying? Lars or you live to see them become shills, you know, or you live to see them become CIA plants. Like if you read that book, Strange Tales in the Valley or whatever it's called, about, you know, like Frank Zappa and all them, or, you know, this guy alleges that they're CIA plants, and that that whole rock movement was tied to the military industrial complex, which, I mean, there's definitely some interesting shit there. Jumps to some conclusions, but there's definitely some interesting shit. I don't think everything across the board is a psyop. I mean, if you listen to them, Frank Zappa was, but I don't see how. Now the thing going around is that if you've done drugs in the last 70 years, that you took part in a CIA psyop to dumb you down, and it's like, dude, like, it's just like, it's, I don't know. We're all hyperbolic. We all reactionary. And so you hear one thing and it's like, oh, it all must be bullshit. Anybody who's ever done a drug was mind controlled by the Central Intelligence Agency. And it's like, no, I see what you're saying. I understand that there were programs and that they were definitely, the CIA was definitely involved in the hippie movement. They've infiltrated every movement since their inception. I get it. But to act like everyone who's ever done a drug is like, it's just, it took part in some sort of, it's just like, okay, so don't do drugs? What? Don't just be sober? I mean, I get that. I'm with it. But when in human history have people just gone through life just completely stone cold sober 24/7? I don't know if any human has that's lived longer than like 10 years, 12 years. I mean, because at that age, you start stealing your parents' wine or beer or whatever the fuck. What am I talking about? I'm getting high. I just got high before. This is why you don't dab before you podcast. I immediately dabbed. And then I gotta stop. I gotta get a screen for so when I go, it doesn't cut out. I've been listening back to some of them lately. And I'm sorry I'm hitting the glass table. I know that's annoying. I need to get that like mesh screen in front of this microphone, because anytime I make a puh sound or I laugh, or sometimes I can hear it almost cancel the noise out. I'm not a sound engineer. I have a decent microphone, but I am not a sound engineer. I had some topics. What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, that stupid fucking video that's viral. Everybody's, it's pretty horrifying because it's close to my heart. I'm married to somebody who's in education, in public education. She's a school teacher. And I said last week about school shooters, I got pretty pissed. I had to record 3 hours worth of shit to whittle it down to like an hour of decently funny. Last time I recorded because of the school shootings, but this one isn't that. It's there's this video of all these teachers at like a hockey game, it looks like, at center ice, and they're all like scrambling for dollar bills. And I'm sure they're not representing every school in the area. I'm sure they had to compete to see which schools qualified for this money grab. But it's just, obviously, you know what I'm getting into. This place is a shithole. It sucks. We fucking suck. Teachers are scrambling on the floor for money, center ice. And then this is in the same week. I bring this up because this is in the same week that a $780 billion defense budget just passed. And teachers are begging for money, and you got a conservative takeover of school districts because they're not giving enough money to private and charter schools. It's just insane. It's fucking, we have this much money to pretty much just murder the world. Like, when are the chickens going to come home to roost? The Pax Romana ended. Like, the Great Britain is no longer great. They're just Britain. They're a junior partner in the American empire. When do the chickens come home to roost for us? I don't know anything about them other than, Szechuan chicken and salt and pepper pork spare ribs. And, I know them culinarily. I really don't know anything about China. I really don't. So I'm not terrified of it. I don't think I don't think they want to dominate the world. I don't think they have 4 times or 3 times the population of the United States. So they're good. Like they're full. They're all filled up. Like they don't need to come babysit all of us. So I don't think they're our future overlords. I'm not afraid of them. I don't think they're going to get me. But $780 billion is going towards somebody, and it ain't Russia. We're not going to fight Russia. I know we've been salivating and drooling over fighting Russia, but that's a world war. That's the European Union won't allow that. They would not allow that. The 30 nations in between us and Russia wouldn't allow that. So yeah, we're not going to go to war with Russia. Like, I don't know what the 780 billion, I mean, to just keep raping the Southern Hemisphere, to keep killing people in Sudan and Somalia. Like, what are we doing, dude? When is this all going to come back on us in a karmic sense? I don't believe in karma, but I mean, in the sense that just at some point, like we all know you can only push people so far before they push back. And I don't think, and I know America's turning its war on terror inward. I've talked about that before, that they're turning it inward on us. Right now it's going to start with the far right. This entire country, we are a far right government, but you know what I'm saying. So it's going to start with the far right of us and then work its way in. And probably the far left, if we're being honest. It traditionally has always gone to the left. It doesn't really, the uses the right. The right is like posse culture. They used to, like, sheriffs and governors and governors and mayors would round up posses when they couldn't directly send cops. They round up posses. So that's what I've always looked at, like the Proud Boys and like the Boogaloo Boys and like any kind of skinhead neo-Nazi group. They're all completely infiltrated. If there's like, I think I talked about it with Timothy McVeigh last week. I'm pretty sure every time he was in a room, infiltrating a neo-Nazis, he was probably in a room, 75% feds. So like the posse, I don't think that shit went away. They use conservative, right-wing extremist groups to do the things they can't do. Just like the CIA, when it goes to Vietnam, it doesn't, they're not shooting darts like James Bond in the shadows into a guerrilla general's neck. It's you're paying a peasant farmer 15 years wage to go and do it for you. So it's kind of the same thing. I know the war on terror is coming home, but what the fuck is the $780 billion for? I know it's going to defense companies. I understand that. I understand it's going to the companies that wrote the bill probably, but it's, they have to use these bombs and leave them in a country when we lose a conflict or something in order to justify purchasing more. So it's just peculiar that we're a completely retarded nation and we're just shooting up the whole world. And I understand that we control the world, but like that is like the American hegemony will end. And I just don't know how. I don't know. I don't even know. Everything's digitized now. Can't Russia and China just shoot the satellites out of the sky and then I'm pretty sure our military would be completely dumbfounded, probably. I don't know if we practice large scale ground tactics that world wars call for. We do that dirty, sneaky, droney shit, and then we put a couple plebs in some Humvees and we send them around and then they get blown up by IEDs. We put them into hostile territory, but I don't think we're moving en masse. I don't think war's fought like that anymore. I could be wrong here. I didn't go to the military, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I'm pretty sure linear war, it's not fought that way. If it ever came down to it, I think we'd be caught with a bunch of dope weapons, a bunch of dope technology. And I bet you half of it needs the internet to work, at least half of it. It's why they don't want to get rid of that leaking Red Hill. Red Hill, those 18, each of them holding over 1 million gallons of fucking jet fuel and ship fuel and diesel fuel buried at the top of a mountain. And it fills waters in Pearl Harbor, or it fills boats and ships and planes and tanks down at the harbor. But the genius of it, and what they think is the genius of it, even though it's poisoning, that island, it's all coming out right now. The genius of it is it's cyber attack proof because it was built 80 years ago and it runs off of gravity. So how many things do we have like that? Like, most of this shit's digital from what I can fucking tell. And I don't think technology is going to save us. I don't, it's like I was talking to my buddy. We were watching the UFC fights the other night. Shout out to Juliana Pena. She beat Amanda Nunes. Big Amanda Nunes fan. But I've seen Juliana Pena fight Valentina Shevchenko. And I always kind of rooted for her. And I always thought, I don't know, man, she could kind of grind one out like Misha did against Holly. I thought she could kind of do something like that to Amanda Nunes, and she did. That fucking shit was dope. That was super. I haven't seen a women's fight that exciting in a while. I don't get that hype for Rose Namajunas. Poor girl. Fuck Pat Barry. I just can't root for Rose because of Pat Barry, which sucks. I just fucking hate that guy. But no, we were watching the fights, and they're talking about, everybody's talking about NFTs and crypto and all this bullshit. And I was trying to explain to them that, look at it in a practical sense. It's something you can make money off of. It's a good scam. It's a good grift. It's like the stock exchange. It's, there's no science to it, but you can definitely get in there and get your beak wet. You can definitely get in there and make a fucking pretty penny, but it's not real. You know what I mean? Like, it's not tangible. You could easily lose your ass. And so I was talking to him about that in that sense, that like this NFT, crypto, even Bitcoin, all of it, it's not what you think it is. It's not going to liberate you from the Federal Reserve. It's not going to liberate you from the central banking system. It's not going to liberate you from fiat currencies. So as long as you understand that, and that you keep it in perspective, that it's like pretty much a stock exchange, that's all it is. Stock exchange for Zoomers. Then okay, I'm sure you'll make some scratch before that bubble pops and it levels back out. But I think it's a LARP. It's a complete fucking LARP. Anybody who sells it to you as if it's like going to decentralize and this is going to be revolutionary, it's going to liberate us from the military industrial complex, it's going to liberate us from central banks, from the powers that be, you are out of your fucking mind. Out of your mind. Completely out of your fucking mind. I know just off instinct that's not possible. But if you read books and you actually look into shit and you think about it for more than like, a couple minutes, if you put like, if you stop sucking on the hopium pipe for a couple minutes, you can figure out pretty quick that like, wait a second, like power controls technology. Technology doesn't control power. Like the internet only exists because of the Department of Defense. Because of the military. The internet only exists so we built the military. Yasha Levine has a book about it called Surveillance Valley. But it's all about how the internet itself is a defense tool, a surveillance tool, and it has been since its inception. That's why Google, Facebook, Amazon, Hewlett-Packard, all of them are defense contractors. But that's not what's horrifying. It's like, no, like, yeah, they're defense contractors, but the internet in and of itself it was a weapon, was built by the Department of Defense. So it's a massive surveillance nexus. So Tor, all of it, all of it, all of it. All of it is used and built and has and completely designed by the government. It's not benevolent billionaires in a garage. It's not. So in that same vein, just like the internet isn't going to save us, we all fucking know that. Like, if you even looked around a little bit, minimum wage is still $7.25. And I've been on the internet for 20 years and nothing's changed. When I think when I was on the internet, it was $6.25 or $6.75. That was my minimum wage at my first job when I was 15 or 16. It's only gone up like 75 cents in the 20 years since. So yeah, the internet ain't gonna save us. We all know that. Everybody knows 9/11 was literally done by the government. Like a stop beating around the bush. I'm not gonna be PC about it. Like, you shut the fuck up and just come on, dude. Like, come on, dude. Pearl Harbor was allowed to happen, so America had an excuse to get in the war and get in there late and beat everybody up when they're already half beaten up. Like, come on, man. Just step back a little bit and stop just, drinking the hopium, sucking on that pipe. So the internet was built as a surveillance tool, okay? Knowing that crypto isn't just some benevolent thing that was invented by some vanished, disappeared Chinese billionaire. Satoshi, is that his name? Satoshi. Everyone talks about it, and it's just like, you don't understand it. You don't understand blockchain. You don't understand it. It's completely anonymous. Like, what are you fucking talking about? There's a digital imprint of everything that ever happens. And I've looked, and you type in, is cryptocurrency or is Bitcoin, just say Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin anonymous? This is absolutely not. The way you keep it anonymous is by moving it through a ton of other coins and hiding the transaction. But that shit is not anonymous. It is not decentralized. You cannot decentralize. It is not possible when you're using tools that were built by the people that centralize, by centralized power. You're using the internet, their internet. I don't get it. I don't fucking understand. Your brain has to be off for any of this shit to make sense. Your brain, it only makes sense if your brain's off. Just like January 6th only makes sense if your brain's off. Calling that an insurrection, and I'm not downplaying it, but calling it an insurrection and a terrorist attack when fat stepdad LARPers are able to just walk into the Capitol willy-nilly, that is not, that, like, come on, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? They didn't fight their way in. They didn't shoot their way in. They were let in. So it's all, unless your brain's off, none of it makes sense. So crypto won't save you. China ain't going to kill you. Crypto ain't going to save you. I think that's the theme of today's episode. Because America is a shithole. And I think the way we go out, I don't think someone comes in and attacks us. I don't think, that'll be way late. I'll be dead and old. I think we're going to do it to ourselves. The world's going to sit back and watch as we devour ourselves. Because it's a matter of time before there's legitimately an uprising in the body populace. I don't know if it's going to be a civil war, which everybody seems to like thirst for. Everybody like watched The Walking Dead and thinks they're going to be like Negan or something. And it's just like, you're a bitch. Shut the fuck up. I don't care how many guns you have. I'm not going to do anything. But people want a civil war on the left and the right, especially the right. They like, oh man, they think that's the next thing. And it's like, I don't know about that, but it's definitely going to be, I think just riots in general. What we saw with George Floyd, it'll be like that times 10. People won't know what to do, won't know who to get mad at. And so they'll just, do what they're doing now. Just start with department stores, start with, high-end shit, victimless crimes mostly that set rich people off and freak them the fuck out. Like, oh my God, law and order. We need law and order. This is capitalism eating itself. This is feudalism. This is the natural order of things. This is, when you zoom out, this is all the natural state of things. If something gets too big, it begins to rot and die. The snake begins to eat its own tail. This is the natural order of things. You have feudalism, you have uprisings. When you have food this expensive and you have people starving, that's when shit gets real. I don't know if anybody's ever listened to Lupe Fiasco's The Cool. Lupe Fiasco doesn't have that much clout, but that to me is one of the best hip hop albums of all time. He has a line in that song when beep, gotta eat, that's when shit gets greasy. So, that's real, man. That is real shit. When people gotta eat, shit gets fucking greasy. And people gotta eat. And food's fucking expensive. The dollar's worth less and less. And the dollar's plummeting and they still don't even give us any. So the dollars we're begging for aren't even going to help us. It's fucking horrific. And I don't see it getting any better. I don't see any of this getting any better. So I think we're going to rot from the inside out. And I don't know. My whole thing is to try not to get emotionally invested. We want to have kids, but now, as time goes on, it's hard to completely 100% justify it being okay, because we're circling the drain here. Like George Carlin said, humanity, make no mistake, humanity is circling the drain. That was a real fucking comedian, man. That motherfucker died way too young. I know he was old. He was born in the 30s. I get it. But he died. He was ahead of his time. He's definitely, in my opinion, the greatest comedian of all time. He's a man, dude. And I could see how you could look at him and go, hey, he makes good points, but he's not funny. Especially later in his life. He's just, that shit was formative to me. His last two specials are specials I watched all the time. We had HBO growing up and they were always on. And that and early Chris Rock, Bigger and Blacker. But George Carlin definitely shaped how I kind of view the world. And for all intents and purposes, for good or bad. I know it's cynical, but I feel like it's just an honest way of looking at the world. And then as you get older, you realize the older you get, the more you realize you circle back to it and there's more validity to it than you even initially thought. When I first heard Carlin, I would just repeat him and thought I thought I had the keys to it all. But as a kid, it made me hopeless. It made me cynical, being that cynical that young, and then watching shit like Zeitgeist and getting really into 9/11 my senior year, and then start smoking pot when I graduated, and then getting deeper into 9/11, and then just like I said, listening to Carlin and being just having that mindset already. And then I get into essentially SCADs, state crimes against democracy, or conspiracy if you want to be a fucking retard about it and lump it in with flat earthers and aliens. Sure, do what you got to do, man. But yeah, it didn't jive well when you're 18 and you should be out there looking at the world as a bright, beautiful place full of potential, not looking at humanity circling the drain in life as pointless. And I got, obviously when you're young, it's I'd be a liar if I said I wasn't a staunch atheist and I thought I was smart for it. But completely, you think you know shit. You think you know things or two, and then like the atheism shit I don't hold as strong, but I view the world the same. Only because I've done psychedelics that, you're like, hey, there might be something here. Or, the brain, who knows? I definitely wake up every day blessed and happy and thankful. Christmas is next week. Thanksgiving just happened. This is my favorite time of year. And I know it sounds like cliche and gay to be blessed and thankful and shit. Like, I don't thank God or, like Yahweh. I don't think a Semitic God. I don't think an Abrahamic God. I just think, I thank God I'm alive and I'm not in jail and I'm not dead. A lot of people I grew up with died, suicide, beaten to death, OD, car accidents, laid on a train, hung themselves, all types of shit. Shot in the face at a party. A lot of people I knew died really young. I'm glad I'm here because I have a wife and dogs. And like I said, I'm thinking about having children. We're circling the drain as humanity. And I'm like, I think I want to have kids, because I own a house now. I'm a fabled millennial homeowner without a cosigner other than my wife. So you know what? I'm going to cut it here. That's what you should do. China ain't going to kill you. It's going to be America or an American. Don't you fucking worry about it. It'll be a familiar face. And they'll be speaking English. And crypto's not going to save you. China ain't going to kill you. Crypto ain't going to save you. And to sum it all up, listen, find a mate, find a wife, a husband, a non-binary, something. Find someone to care about, someone to give a shit about. Hug your dog. I'm sure you have one. And then don't buy a car. Don't buy crypto unless you know you're going to flip it for money. And be careful. Don't get a new car payment. Save as much money as you can. Find a partner. Find someone to circle the drain with. Find someone to die with. Find someone you care about more than anything in this world. Convince them the world's going to end. Find someone to shack up with. Fall in love. Get a partner. Get a family. Focus on yourself. Save your money. Hang out. Hold on tight. And really, I know it sounds like boomer shit, but really nothing's more important than family. That's really the only thing that keeps anybody level or sane. To me, it's not God. It's just my wife and my mother and my brothers and my sisters. And then just having family. And then just, knowing you have people in the world and focus on that. And if you don't have a family, I understand that too. There's a lot of my family I don't speak to. For a long time, I didn't speak to most of my family. My mom and stepdad got divorced. They were together 23 years of my life. And there's a lot of family I didn't talk to on that side, and I still don't. So my family's whittled down, and at points I didn't really talk to anybody, especially when I was younger and cynical and piece of shit. So I get not having a family, but you can make family. George is my family. I have friends that are family, that I consider family, people that I consider brothers. So find your people, find someone to give a shit about, because we're circling the drain here, folks. That's really all that's gonna save us. And buy a house as fast as you fucking can, as fast as you can. Get a family, smoke a little bit of weed, and buy a fucking house. That's trust me, I've never been happier in my life. The only thing you can do for yourself is buy a house. I know they're telling you shouldn't and you should rent, and a dumb fucking, I screenshot it. I could believe it, but I was blown away. This article came out. Not buying a home is a no-brainer, says Shark Tank winning CEO. I'd rather rent and invest the money. Like, and then he goes on to say that you should invest in real estate companies instead of owning your own home because it's too expensive. Don't listen to these fucking people. They're insane. They want to be your landlord. Buy a house, dude. If it's Tennessee, it's Tennessee. If it's Michigan, it's Michigan. Check the water. But buy a house because they're pulling the ladder up on the middle class. That I fucking know. Even the economic crash will not drop a house down to your level. I've said this before. If you're young and you don't own a house, like that should be your only fucking priority. Not video games, not crypto, not a new car, none of this shit. Buy a house, dude. China won't kill you. Crypto won't save you. Buy a house and find someone to circle the drain with. I love you. Good night.